To my dear guest, Paul Dervis. Am I right?
That was great. I had no problem whatsoever coming a little early. It was nice to be here. It's really great to be talking to you tonight.
Thank you. You are a director, a writer, a playwright. I mean, you are so accomplished. And of course, the artistic director of the Storm Warnings Repertory Theater.
In Kennebunk, Maine, which I believe that you're a Mainer yourself, is that right? Or
Just
spent a lot of time there?
I spent a lot of time, tough times. That hurts. But yeah, I spent some time in Maine. My husband, he's from Maine. So it's a beautiful place, but it's not New York.
No, it's not.
And it never will be.
No, it's very different.
We don't have to knock Maine, right? We promise not.
That's true. I promise not
we
to knock
promise
Maine.
not to do so. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. But hey, accomplished. I said it to Paul, listen, I need your emails. I need your information. I got to get the breakdown. And it's a little bit overwhelming to see how much work you have under your wings.
It just means that I'm old.
And it's a good thing, right? It's an obsession for all of us to be young and to look young and to sound young, right?
I don't know. You go through life, you keep on going. I view, especially in the arts, which you're in, that the arts are like stepping stones in a pond. It's not like you're trying to go to a particular place. What you're trying to do is step on something that makes you comfortable, and then you go to the next stone and the next stone and the next stone. Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer that, you know, you can do your best work in March of 1983 and then your best work again in September of 95.
So I'm sorry for interrupting. We're always blooming to a certain degree. We're born and we die. We're born and we die, no?
You're right. That's correct.
My father said we're born and we die every single day. You have written how many plays? 12?
I've written more than that.
More than that, right? That's what I feel when I was reading the bio. Wait a minute, that doesn't seem to look accurate.
It's an old bio.
I haven't. No, it was not a bio. No, shame. The play Making Tracks.
That was 1986. It won the New York One Act Play Festival at the Nat Horn Theater.
I mean, can we begin? Can we start in the beginning, right from the beginning? How old were you when you have your first experience in the theater?
In theater?
Yes.
Well, I was a theater major in college. I went to Tufts University, and I was a theater major in college. And as soon as I got out of college, I opened up a theater company. I also, in 1979, I did Peter Nichols' A Day in the Death of Joe Egg, and it got 3 newspapers Best of Boston, and it really got me going. It got me some funding, and it allowed me to really establish my theater.
Right, but like we were talking about right before we started, to be an artistic director, that takes a lot of responsibility.
Well, it's like running anything else, right? I mean, you have a lot of work to do, and I often have said over the years that being the artistic director, really what you are is the head janitor of a theater, you know, because everything falls on you.
Right.
On the other hand, I've been very fortunate in my life to have many good managing directors. I have one right now named Susan Staples, who's a playwright.
Yeah. I got her friendship. Oh, I got her on Facebook now. She's one of my friends. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're opening up our season with Susan's new play, The Lift, which is about 2 ballet dancers who had an affair 30 years earlier when they were in college, and then they ended up getting married, having lives, but they've never gotten kind of away from who they are, so they're reconnecting in this play. Susan's very talented, and she's also a great managing director. She does what I don't. Mm-hmm. And from my perspective, that's what I need. I read scripts, I know playwrights, I know actors, I can direct, but I'm not a manager. You know, I'm not somebody who raises money or does all that, you know, and Susan's great at that.
Right, but it's like I said, even to read in plays, how many plays you can read in a month, I guess, or
well, I do new scripts, right? So I actually read a lot of plays.
You read a lot.
And I also teach playwriting, so.
So you can tell from the first page if something is well written or something is junk, can you?
I don't think you can tell on the first page if it is, but I will tell you this: a lot of, in my mind, one of the things I teach my students, my playwriting students, is that. Opening up with impact is really important because not because of the actual production, but if you want to get a production, you got to grab your audience. You got to grab your reader. You know, you're sending out scripts to theaters to do new scripts, and they're not going to read every page of everybody's script. So you need to come in with a bang, I think.
Incredible. You can acting. You teach acting.
I teach acting. I teach at an experimental school called the New School. I teach at Algonquin College in Canada. I still teach one course there, even though I moved back to the States 3 years ago. I run something called the Hot House Series, which is taking my playwriting students and doing stage readings of 27 plays a year with them. And I have a playwrights workshop that I teach separately as well with professional playwrights in Maine. And I come down here every year. I also do film reviews for a magazine. I'm down here doing theater reviews for that magazine every year in August and September. And I've been very fortunate the last 3 years to have workshops of 3 of my new plays. One at the Hudson Warehouse Theater and 2 now at Urban Stages.
It's incredible, but you see, I hear you talking. It's very easy for me just to keep my eyes closed and just keep listening. You're loaded, you have experience, you can write, you can direct, you can teach acting, you can teach playwriting. I mean, you're
a Renaissance man, eh?
Yeah, but you're a gun machine. Gloria will tell you, we were talking, I said, listen, I gotta get this man right here. He's accomplished, and I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can do so many things at the same time. How many plays you have directed your whole life?
Directed? Probably 200. I think it probably says 150
there. It says
but
100. No, let me check. I'm going to check my page. Yeah, but
I
it's
mean,
not distracting.
the bios that you have are very old. I probably directed 200 shows in my life.
200 shows?
Well, 200 full productions and then a lot of readings and whatnot. I like to work, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't really view it as work. I mean, that's one of the great things of being an artist. And if you're an artist who can somehow make a living doing it, then you're the luckiest guy in the world, because, you know, 90% of people go to jobs that they don't like, and I don't even think I work.
Right.
You know, you think I work hard. I don't think I work at all, you know, because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
to me,
work, it's work, it's work.
To me, the saddest day in a theater, in a show's process is opening night, because it's no longer mine. You know, up until that, through the whole rehearsal process,
it's your baby.
It's my baby, yeah. And then opening night, it's yours. It's the audience's and the actors.
Now, you can smell talent like this, right? You can.
No, I don't think you can smell talent like that. I mean, I've worked with 2 or 3 actors that I think are immensely talented, but they don't have a real chemistry with an audience. So they end up playing smaller roles or playing, you know, secondary roles. And then there's people who have this great chemistry with an audience. And they may not have as much talent, but, you know, audiences are gripped to them. You know, there's something about what they give off that makes an audience follow them.
What is it, charisma? It's not talent, skill?
You know,
what is it?
I'll tell you this. I taught early on, when I ran the Alley Theater in Boston in 1979, there was a bakery next to my theater. And there were 2 young women who worked there every day, and they worked at cash registers. And one of them, if there were 8 people in line, 5 would be in front of one person and 3 would be in front of the other all the time. That's the chemistry I'm talking about. People wanted the one particular one to serve them. And actually I ended up teaching her, and she ended up becoming a really fairly major figure in lesbian films. Okay. You know, so that's what you're looking for, somebody who really kind of can take over a space and have a relationship with an audience.
But I guess if you can write, you can read people easy, right?
My writing, you know, I write in public places. I write in coffee houses and restaurants and whatnot, or parks. And the reason I like that, and a lot of writers will say, oh, I can't do it, it distracts me. I like to listen to people talking, because I feel that I think that my forte as a writer is the naturalness of my dialogue, that when somebody says something, they actually would say it. And I think the reason that I've cultivated that is because I listen to people while I'm writing. I've actually listened to conversations and put them right in the play as I'm writing it, as they're saying it, you know? And to me, that I mean, it's a lonely profession, writing, right?
Right.
So I like to augment that, but you have to know people. So I like to augment it by being with people all the time.
So how do you face the white page? How does
Well,
it work when you have an idea? Okay, I want to do a play. How does it work? The breakdown. Does it work the same?
I rarely get what they call writer's block, and part of the reason I don't get writer's block, I think, is because I do a lot of things on deadline, right? Like I'll pitch an idea to a theater company, and they'll say, "Okay, write the play, we'll do it." So I get a deadline for the play. I have a deadline for every film I review, and I also write poetry, and I do poetry readings. And if something is stymieing me in my plays, I'll just switch to another writing form. You know, so.
But that's easy. You see, that comes.
Well, I don't know. It's not easy, but I mean.
I mean, it's to be able to do it, to subject.
Yeah.
You go to poetry and then playwriting, and then you go back and forth, like you're switching gears when you're driving a car.
Right. And I like to actually direct one play while writing another. I like to work. I like to multitask.
Yeah. Hemingway, like I said, you look just like him. I tell you, one of my favorite writers. My father used to love Hemingway.
Sissy wants me to do a Hemingway play.
Because we were talking about it, and this is very interesting, and my hair hopefully is not in the way. Ego. Once again, how do you get ego out of the way, out of the way, out of the way? I know, we have to be present and listen to one another. I was talking with Paul that he looks just like him. He looks just like Headless Hemingway. You can easy play him on a film, on a short film, or a play.
I don't act much, though.
You don't need to. Writing comes easy.
I'm not saying writing comes easy. I write a lot, though. I do deadline.
Right, but it's an exercise, a muscle.
In my playwrights workshop that we meet once a week on Monday nights, I bring my material in as well, and I feel an obligation to have at least 10 or 15 pages written every week, because if I don't, then how can I expect other writers to do it? You know, so to me,
it's not scary to you when you have the actors the first. No, it doesn't.
You know, some shows work and some shows don't.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think that absolutely everything that I write or direct is going to be gold. I can go to bed at night and sleep knowing there's going to be another show. You know, to me, you know, it's not. It's about accumulative.
Right. What about New York? You see, I have questions here, but you see how it is that it triggers. You give me an answer, we go to one. It's a tricky thing. If New York playwrights, they want to submit to your company, they want to submit their work.
Right, I'm doing a new Israel Horvitz play this year.
Yes.
I just did Richard Repertory's play.
Which we know is a...
Richard has been on this show.
On the show, yes.
And by the way, just want to throw this out. Richard just came out with a new book called Champagne and Cocaine.
Yeah, he told me he's supposed to come back on the show.
Well, he should come back. It's a really good book. He's a great writer. He also is a playwright and a poet and a novelist. You know, so I mean, I have a lot of respect. In fact, Richard's in my workshop that's happening at Urban Stages. My newest play, Exchange Street. It's a night on Earth, basically, or day on Earth. It's 6 a.m. to midnight on one street corner in Portland, Maine. And Richard is one of the 7 actors in it because Richard acts as well.
I know he's an actor, yeah.
And I just want to also throw out the fact that I just finished adjudicating a film festival. I watched, I think it was 80 films that were mostly Italian, Spanish, Latin American, and French, some American films. And it's going to be, I can't talk about any of the actual films because they haven't notified the creators of these films yet.
Right.
But there is, for example, one film that was made that takes place in New York, and it was made on an iPhone, and it was really quite brilliant.
No kidding.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot. And there's this
shot with an iPhone. That's it.
Shot in the iPhone, yeah. And there's this one woman, and I don't know if she's going to be doing the festival or not, and I'm not going to mention her name or any of her films, but she's 21 years old, and she's made. I saw 8 shorts, somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes, and a full-length feature of hers, and she's 21 years old. You know, I look at that, I have a 16-year-old, and thinking she's 5 years older than my daughter. You know, it's hard to believe how much she's done and what a great vision she has. So The film festival is the Arlington International Film Festival. It plays the last week in October.
Okay.
And if you guys are in Boston, anybody out there's in Boston for that weekend, go to that festival.
Check it out.
Check out that festival. It is going to be something special.
Okay, because I have people that I know over the years, but some people from the Actors Studio, studio members, and very talented. And Mark Brokoski comes to my head. I don't know if you know him, but he's a playwright.
Yep.
And he's a studio member. Remarkable. Oh, look at my feet. I can't believe it, Gloria. Look. Oh my God. I'm all blind. This is, once again, Mark Brokoski, he's a studio member. He's a dear friend of mine. He's a hell of a playwright. You should have him out there. I'm serious.
You know, connect me up with him.
I'm going to hook you up with him because he's just, he's great with dialogue.
A playwright that I'd like to get together with in the next year is Annie Baker. She wrote The Flick. She won the Pulitzer Prize for it. And she's from New England. She lives in New York. But I'm really impressed with her work, and I'm hoping that I could possibly get one of her pieces.
Yeah.
We're also do Canadian plays as well in Maine.
Right.
I
wanted to ask you about, the Canadian plays.
I'm doing a new David Gow play called Elephant. David wrote Cherry Ducks, which played in New York for, I think, 6 months, and was turned into a film with David Strathairn called Steel Toes. And anyway, but it's what I like to do. I like to work directly with playwrights. You know, and if you can see Susan's play at my theater opens up end of October, and Israel Horvitz's play, the one I'm working on with him, is opening up the first week in December, and it's called New Girl. It's actually a series of plays, and it's about immigrants in the United States and how they're treated. It's very topical.
Right. Very current.
Right.
Ask Donald Trump all about it.
I know.
God help us.
No kidding.
God help us. And you know what's shocking to me, Paul, when I think about it? I was checking the CNN before I came here, and I said, wait a minute. This guy has almost half of the country voting for him?
Hard to believe.
How can you explain that to me? Because you can explain that the guy got charisma. He's not a stupid guy.
He doesn't have charisma.
Well, he's not.
Believe me. He sounds like a used car salesman.
I know, but to be able to make that kind of money, you have to have some talent.
Well,
you got to give it that, right?
Yeah, he inherited it too.
Well, just $1 million, not the fortune that he has nowadays.
Well, his dad was a big real estate broker too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But anyway, what I'm saying is that you see what you see on television, and you see, we live very difficult times. I don't know how it's going to get easier for each one of us, but I tell you, it's a challenge to run a theater company, to make it work, and to get all the actors, and get the playwrights, and do this show. You got to do Hemingway. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to pick you up. I have a husband, and I use the line every time I do my show, but it's true.
And her husband's a boxer.
And my husband is a boxer. He can throw a punch. You have it. You see, we need to cover. It's 11:36, and time is beating, and I need to cover what I'm teaching actors, man. I'm curious about your treatment with actors. I mean, are you method? Not method? You don't care about
I'm totally method.
You're method 100%. Are you open to any other ways of approaching the acting?
Well, sure. I mean, method is not a single thing, I think. But I mean, I definitely want my actors to get in touch with their own experiences in their lives and how they can make that work for them in a moment, you know. So I mean, I'm a method guy.
What's your take on Strasberg?
Strasberg? You mean he produced a generation of American actors. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. One of the greatest. The greatest.
He's the greatest. He is the Actors Studio and Lee Strasberg created what we consider to be contemporary theater in America. I mean, you know, before that, theater was more conventional. I actually just reviewed, you know, John Lahr. He just wrote the book on Tennessee Williams last year. I reviewed that last year. That was an amazing book because Williams is sort of the crossover between kind of genteel theater and what became, you know, how we view theater as anti-hero and whatnot today. You know, and Williams was like kind of that bridge.
You see, we can talk about, and that would be, I guess, in another interview, but you can talk all about American theater.
Well,
we can just dedicate ourselves to an entire half hour just only on
Theater, American theater,
American
contemporary theater.
theater.
Or we could also do it, and I could have a conversation with you for half an hour about 1960s British dramas.
Oh
You know?
yes, I love all the British. I can't help it, man. I can't help it. I'm glued to British actors. All of them: John Cleese, Vanessa Redgrave, Glenda Jackson,
Albert Finney.
Albert Finney, Anthony Hopkins, Alec Guinness, John Gielgud, Helen Mirren, Judi Dench, Hugh Bonneville, Hugh Grant, well, Emma Thompson, all these
Well, I
great
mean, I look
actors.
at these people from the 60s.
60s, like Glenda Jackson.
Right.
She's from the 60s, right?
Yep.
Paul Scofield,
Paul Scofield, yep.
great actor. Obviously, John Gielgud. Alec
But I mean,
Guinness,
John Gielgud was not kind of the kitchen sink group, you know. I mean, Laurence Olivier.
Laurence Olivier.
Well, he did The Entertainer. John Osborne's The Entertainer. And I often think, when I'm thinking about British drama, I think about the writers from 57 to 75
Okay.
who were creating the Angry Young Man School of Theater. And then I think of stage actors like, you know, Mary Ure, who died of a heroin overdose, or Rita Tushingham, who people know because in her commercial work, because she did things like, she was the daughter in Dr. Zhivago.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, I seen that movie a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Alec Guinness opens up with a conversation with her because he's trying to figure out if she's Zhivago's daughter.
Uh-huh.
But she made a lot of really great little movies.
Mm-hmm.
The Leather Boys, Green Eyes.
What about, do you remember Flora Robson?
Yeah, sure. Actually, Billie Whitelaw is a crossover. You know who Billie Whitelaw was?
No, I don't know if I don't think I do.
One of my favorite films is Albert Finney's Charlie Bubbles, written by Sheila Delaney. And actually, Rita Tushingham played the lead in the stage production of that. You know Sheila Delaney, Taste of Honey? Anyway, she wrote a film called Charlie Bubbles. Albert Finney directed it and starred in it. And Billie Whitelaw played his wife in it. And she had been a really well-known stage actress. She played the mother in The Craze. She just passed away last year. And I wrote an obituary for her in my magazine. I just loved her.
You see, we can dedicate one entire show about England.
We could.
We could. So what's in the plans? What's next?
Well, you know, I have this workshop, and the workshop production is called Exchange Street, and it's at the Urban Stages on 30th. It is going to be getting a full production, not by me, but it's getting a full production in May and February. I'm doing the next full production that I'm directing is Horowitz's play that I told you about, and I'll be doing the new David Gow play in the spring. And I will be heading up to Canada in about a month and a half. I usually go up for a week a month to teach, so I teach like 10 straight days and then I stop. And I come back for 3 weeks and then I go up again. So that's my season. That's what I'm looking
And it's
at.
tempting to watch you. You see, I can easily take my eyes and say, I'm not going to put attention
I
to the
haven't looked
camera.
one time.
I'm looking
You know
all the
why
time.
I haven't looked one time?
You look so good on
because
camera.
Gloria would absolutely
Oh,
kill
she
me.
would say, kill me. She's killing me now between takes. She's saying, Sissy, don't look at the monitor. That's the reason why she doesn't place it there. But you see, it is what it is. When you're doing a show, you're doing this, what I'm doing right here, right now, I need to see what's going on. I can look at you, I can look at the camera, but at the
I
same
don't think
time...
anybody should try to make you anything but what you are already, Sissy. You are charming and you are effervescent. You are like carbonation in my hand that I let go and just
Like a gin,
floats into the
like what do
air.
you call it, the gin bottle? Remember
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
Like
Little
that? It's
shit-
not,
yes.
I'm not too much to take, be honest.
Oh, are you kidding?
Are you
kidding?
sure?
Of course
You're a critic. Give me your insight.
course-
give it to me. Give it to me.
Of course, I'm flirting with you, so
I
I'll
know,
say
big
anything I
time, but
want.
that's okay. We actors do it. Entertainers do it. Writers do it.
I think
Are we?
I think you're charming and wonderful, and I can't wait to see you on stage.
Thank you so much. I want to see your work. I want to go up there.
Well, come to see my workshop.
But you need to. You see, I need to get you
Come
in
up
touch.
to Maine.
I know. I gotta.
I
go
got a
to
nice
Maine.
big place up there. You can bring your husband.
I can bring my husband. He can throw you a punch.
No.
You can take a punch. You've been around your own bottles. You're a man who's been through a lot too. I see it. I see it. We're not gonna get into that because we're not gonna go private. But you're a tough man. You've been around the block.
So you tell me.
Yeah, and what about Headless Hemingway? I'm serious. I'm so serious. You ever think about that? Do a film on him?
Oh,
You playing Headless
no,
Hemingway?
no.
I gave you that idea, right?
Yeah, you give me the idea for sure. You've
And
been
we're gonna
talking
do
about it
it.
for
We're
an
gonna
hour.
make it happen. How are we gonna make it happen? We're gonna write it. Are we?
No, you can write it and I'll play it.
I write it and he plays a lot of work. Let me see what kind. Okay, we do like to develop. We cover that. We still have him a few seconds, Gloria. So don't cut my. Yes, 11:44. Time is kicking. I got it. Okay. Oh, influences. All the influence. What you
My
mean influenced
influences.
by
Well,
whom?
I'll actually tell you my greatest influence is not a playwright. It's a poet who published me when I was 16. His name was Jack Powers, and he passed away a couple of years ago. And I didn't really realize it until he passed away. I did a eulogy for him. How influential he was, because before I met him, I don't think I ever thought of this as writing as a career. But he brought me in. He introduced me. I got to read with Allen Ginsberg and Lawrence Ferlinghetti and John Wieners, and it was like incredible for a 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And he supported me. And when I went to college, I went to college to be a writer, and I got into theater almost haphazardly because one of my professors there, Juan Alonso, who was the editor of the New Boston Review, suggested theater as a medium for my writing to get to the greatest the largest audience I could get to. And I thought that was really a great idea too. And of course, people like Israel Horovitz, who I got to work with first when I was 22, have been a major influence in my life, but merely more because we've worked together.
Right.
And
He writes so fast.
Israel, he's the most prolific writer in
How
the English
can you
language
write
today.
so fast, like Stephen King?
I know, I can't figure that out either. But it was also like I had an opportunity to work with Leonard Melfi, who wrote Birdbath. I did a new play of his. You know, I've done 10 David Mamet plays, and he clearly influences me in my style because I tend not to do like long monologues.
That was a rough one. The one that I went to see with Al Pacino, China Doll. On Broadway?
That wasn't Mamet, was it?
Yes.
Oh, was
and
it?
it was a long
That closed really
way
fast, right?
to Palooka Bill. It was a
Yeah.
tough. I don't know how he did it.
Pacino was having trouble, right?
He's a great actor. We know, everybody knows him. No, it was the play.
He did a great film last year called Mengelhorn.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I put it in my top 10, and nobody saw that movie. But
Oh, I heard about it. It was a Lincoln Center film?
I don't know if it was a Lincoln Center, but he plays an aging locksmith who has absolutely nobody left in his life. Everybody's gone, and he flirts a lot with a bank teller, and she goes out with him, and he doesn't really know how to do it because he hasn't really had a relationship in forever.
Right.
And it's very tender, and it's harsh, and it's just really well done.
I think I heard about that film. It was a difficult film to get into. Somebody, and not Gloria, somebody else told me they went to see that film and they just couldn't. But I went to see that play with Pacino, and I don't know how he did it. I mean, it's about a man on the phone. He's having a conversation on the phone for 2 hours. How do you direct somebody on the phone for 2 hours?
Well, it's not like it's
that?
never been done. I mean, John Cocteau's The Human Voice
I heard of it.
is a one-woman show, and she's on the phone with her married lover, and she's desperate for him. And it's a monologue on her on the phone. So it's not like it can't be done, and it hasn't been done well. You know, The Human Voice is a great play and a great film. But it is hard. You're right, and sometimes it's used kind of to a cheap end.
Right.
You know.
Right. I think we covered pretty much it. I can't believe it. It's 11:48.
Well, I've had such a good time
had a
on
good
this show. I
time?
have.
Yeah, you think it was a little rough experience when we're setting up the lights and getting the rug in the
Not
right
at
place?
all.
And
Look,
me,
I spend weeks getting a show up.
I know. It was
so
easy.
this is nothing. This is easy.
And the
Piece of cake.
couch is relaxing, and the light it looks good.
Yes.
I think you have a lot to say.
My fly was up the whole time.
Yeah, I know. And you're cute as you can be. You're fresh. It doesn't seem that you're tired. It doesn't seem that, like I said, I apologize to you that I didn't text you back because I
Don't
assumed
worry
that
about
I
it.
did.
Look, don't worry about
No,
it.
I'm already feeling guilty, but I got to throw
I
up
told
when I
her
get
not
home.
to feel guilty a million times.
I know, but it doesn't matter. I hear to my own thoughts. And what's your greatest acting mentor, you think?
My acting mentor? Well, I'm not really an
Yeah.
actor. I don't act very much.
No, but you actors that you look up to, people
Well,
that
the
you look up
actors
to.
that I looked up to, well, I mean, it goes generationally, right? I mean, I think the current actor that piques my interest most is like Vincent D'Onofrio.
Okay.
He was on Law and Order: Criminal Intent, but he's done a million small roles and big roles in films, and I just love his work. I think Vincent D'Onofrio. If somebody was going to play the biography of Paul Dervis, I would want him to do it.
Have you see we're running credits. I wanted, yeah, this is done. I wanted to thank Gloria Messer. Look at yourself. Look at how pretty. Oh, we had such a good time. I want to thank everybody. Charles Casano, my research consultant, Barbara Jimenez, Alex de Romero, dear friend of mine, Esteban Quesada Vizcaíno, my cinematographer, cameraman, editor, helper. He's just a one-man show. And of course, Gloria Messer behind the camera. She's like looking at me now and she said, okay, Sissy, whatever you do, please, just don't rush me. I don't want to be rushed. We have 50 minutes. I want to take my time. So please don't rush me with the take. Look at my hair. You see? Remember I told you that the hair is distracting? Now you see it. You see this? That's why I'm obsessed. And I fix it. And guess what? I'm using the mirror. I'm using the camera as a mirror. I do it all the time. And it's so much fun.
Goodbye.
Everybody, thank you for watching. It was a great company. You are so accomplished. I want to have you back, and I want to talk a little more about it. Stage work in England and all the great actors.
I'm up for that.
You're up for that?
I
Okay,
am.
so we are living. Thank you for watching, and that's what we call a wrap.
The magic of television.
There you go. And my hair is sticking out. I told you it was going to be a distraction, but that's okay, Gloria.
Are we off?
Are we off? Yeah, we're off.